Welcome everybody to another World of Tanks replay. My name is Maxwell and this one is from the user RedHawk95. He's driving the ST1 on a standard battle on Westfield. ST1 being a pretty damn good tier 9 heavy tank for the Russians. This thing definitely made out of Stalinanium or whatever you call it, unobtainium. This thing has fantastic armor all the way around, basically. Has great armor to the front. Really strong turret, and has quite a surprisingly accurate gun as well for a high-tiered Russian tank. As you can see, the stats on it fairly good, pretty much the same as the IS-4, which is 258 mils of penetration and 440 average damage. Waffenträger making a mistake early on, trying to get up that ridge there, and just getting picked off by RedHawk. But yeah, this gun tends to be very accurate, can actually outperform the E75's gun over range, in my opinion. On paper, that's probably not the case, but that's just how the gun felt. RedHawk in a very strong position here. Normally, if you're in this kind of position, you need to worry about taking damage from the front or getting hit by artillery. There's nothing really he can do to protect himself from the artillery, but getting hit from the front, he kind of has a veto on that, considering he has a ridiculous amount of frontal armor. If he does get spotted and take a hit, he's not really going to take much damage. The only real risk he has is the fact that he's turning his turret all the way to the right-hand side, meaning somebody could potentially sneak a shot through the side of his turret. But it looks like the enemy team has more things to worry about right now, as RedHawk has gotten away scot-free so far, caused almost 2,500 points of damage thus far. Still sat in his mighty position up on the hill here. Not able to get the last bit of damage on the Type 4 Heavy, so goes for the Tiger P instead. Just going to try and chase him off a little bit. Tiger P doesn't like any of that damage, so he decides to start falling back. Can he now see the top of this Type 4's turret? He can't, so switching targets across to the Tiger P again. Just keeping an eye on his left-hand side, as the battle in the town isn't going as well as could be. Probably something to do with the fact that the Allies haven't sent a single tank into the town. They've decided to cram everybody on the northern flank there, and nobody else really seems to be doing anything, because as you can see by the score screen here, RedHawk has done almost all of the damage to these tanks. Nobody else really seems like they've chipped in at all. Now, can he get the last bit of damage on the Type 4? He can indeed. Takes him out for kill number 1. And like I said, there is a whole host of other tanks on that northern flank, but it was RedHawk who did pretty much all of the damage. He's walking away with almost 4,000 points of damage, and we're only 3 minutes into this game. Moving into the town now, he's got a couple of high priority targets, one of them being this E75, but he does see the AT in the background. Very clever move there. Decided to stop targeting the AT7 as he saw the E75 making a move through the village. So rather than firing off his shot and then being left with the E75 charging forward and nothing he could do about it, elects to not take his shot, wait for the E75, and then they are able to eliminate him in a very quick 1-2. Now moving into the village. Still got this AT7. But the AT7 is going to find it very difficult to penetrate the ST1. But it looks like this AT7 driver knows what he's doing, as he puts that shot straight through. It looks like the very peak, or just snuck it on the underside of the tank. RedHawk going to take his time aiming that one, as he gets that one right through the commander's hatch to get a lovely bit of damage on this AT7. Force him back. Now he's switching his attention to this T-34-3. Takes that shot and gets a lovely bit of damage onto him. He's caused almost 5,500 points of damage so far. And again, we're only 4.5 minutes into this match. It would be good to be able to get the last bit of damage on this T-34-3 and eliminate him from the game. Looks like this one was all even just until a second ago. The enemy team has won the right-hand flank very easily. And the Allied team have won the left-hand flank very easily, thanks to the heroic efforts of RedHawk. Going to make a move now and see if he can affect something on the right-hand flank. There's still a bunch of tanks over there, so hopefully he can get across pick up some high priority targets and get some damage done. Has to be careful because there is an RU-251 lurking on the hill. Red Hawk pushes over the top to get some damage on him, but starts to take fire from the enemy team. Does now decide to fall back as he's taking damage from the artillery as well. His load is gone, and his track was gone. Used his repair and health kit to get himself back into cover. Does now still have this RU-251 lurking around the area, and there's a T-37 on the left-hand side. Telling his allies to just go. I'm not really sure what the IS-6 and the IS have been doing all of this time. They are finally making a move towards the enemy base. But bearing in mind, these were the people who went to the northern flank and did absolutely nothing. So you must forgive them. Gonna now go and see if we can find this AT-7 who's probably dropped down off the ridge and starting to make a move towards the Allied base. Actually, he's not. Looks like he did drop down, but he may be stuck. Yep, definitely stuck. This is just going to be some free damage now for Red Hawk. The AT-7 fires in frustration as he knows he's stuck and he knows there's nothing he can do about it. Red Hawk's going to come along for the last bit of damage. Takes him out for kill number 2. 6,500 points of damage. Somehow the IS and the IS-6 that went to hunt the artillery are now being picked apart by light tanks. Yeah, not having a very good time of it. Red Hawk's going to try and get across to help out, but it looks like they are just getting peppered. Not really going to be much that they can do. The IS-6 has now been eliminated as well, and I'm really not sure what those guys were doing. Both of them went in force with a T-29 on the ridge towards the base to try and take out the artillery, and just got absolutely ripped to shreds by light tanks. Luckily this thing is still fairly even at 12 kills to 11 for the enemy team, although they only have 2 light tanks and 2 artillery, whereas the Allies have that Object 704, the ST-1 of Red Hawk, and that M12 artillery. Object 704 on about half health, a little bit higher, Red Hawk a little bit below. But let's face it, these guys are light tanks. If they can catch them out in the open, both of them are one-shots, as is the artillery. I'm just going to speed this one up a little bit until we get back into the action. Red Hawk just got to play this one carefully. As a heavy tank facing a couple of light tanks, you've got to pick your spots that you move to very, very carefully. Because if you get caught out in the wrong spot with a light tank, he's just going to circle you to death. Looks like the Object 704 is going, charging in now. He finds the M4043. It'll be interesting if he can take him out. He can. That leaves the GW Panther, but the T-37 was last spotted in and around that area. Object 704 looks like he's been caught out in the open now by both light tanks. Red Hawk's doing his best to get across as quickly as he can, but it's definitely not going to be quick enough, and the GW Panther takes out the Object 704. Red Hawk going to see if he can get a shot on this GW Panther. He can't. He just fades away into the fog of war. He was also moving, but the M12 takes him out. What a blind shot from the Allied artillery to eliminate the GW Panther now. And that evens things up at 13 kills to 13. Getting some advice from the IS-6, who managed to throw his life away for nothing early on in the battle. So probably not going to listen to that. Red Hawk does get spotted, moving to the middle of the map. There we go. Starts taking shots in the side of his armor. Continues to move across. Looks like he's still spotted. Going to try and get into cover and point his front armor towards the RU, as that is his only chance. Taking all the heat shells now. His driver gets taken out by the RU. Looks like he's probably back in camo now, as that last shot did miss and land in the dirt. Complains a little bit about the heat span, but to be honest, if I was driving an RU-251 against an ST-1 in this kind of situation, I would also be spamming the heat. If we see all those, most of those shots look like they went into the lower plate as well. And this one is going to be tricky now, as Red Hawk hasn't got very much health himself. But again, the RU and the T-37 are one-shots each. And both teams need to be aware now that the clock is ticking. There's only 4 and a bit minutes left on the battle clock. The M12 has moved up. May prove to be a mistake, because if he gets caught out by the light tanks, he is done for. But as long as the two of them stick close together and move together, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. The RU-251 was on the other flank, but it looks like these light tank players are fairly good. So they may have moved, and we'll just speed this one up a little bit, because Red Hawk does have a dead driver. So it's going to take him a while to get anywhere. If we have a look at the ST-1 speed with the dead driver, just keeping his gun focused up on the ridge there, which was the last known position of the RU-251. Well, actually, the last known position was right here, but he was firing from that ridge over there. So we can safely assume that that's where he was. Pretty sure a shot landed close by there. He has now been spotted. The RU-251 is on the other flank. Looks like he transitioned across. Probably came up underneath to try and spot, or looped all the way around and came up the 1-2 line. Red Hawk doing what he can now. There's only 2 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. So he's going to get himself into the cap circle. He's going to force these light tanks to come to him. The M12 gets taken out now. Looks like he was spotted out in the open. A bit of a surprise that the light tank didn't get spotted doing that. Well, that is light tanks for you. Trying to get a shot on this T-37. Hopefully he can't... Nope. He shows some great shot discipline there. Not rushing that shot. Takes a hit from the RU-251. Both these tanks have pretty good camo ratings, so this is going to come down right to the wire. He does have enough time to cap the base out, so these light tanks really need to come to him, and they really need to decap, or they are going to lose this one. RU starts coming around on the right-hand side. Red Hawk's got to decide what to do with his armor. Probably best to keep the building between himself and the T-37 and put as much front and side armor to the RU-251 as he can. Although he's spamming the heat, heat shells don't get regular normalization, so you can slightly over-angle against a heat shell. T-37 is now just on the other side of these buildings. Got to protect his rear armor from this T-37. Comes all the way forward. Keeps as much of the building between himself and the T-37 as he can. There we go. T-37 gets a reset on him with high explosive ammunition. And now Red Hawk has to eliminate both tanks in order to win this one. Taking hits from the T-37, but he doesn't care. There we go. That is a high explosive shell from the T-37. He doesn't have the turret traverse, but he's just trying to scare him away and then switch his gun back around towards the RU-251. And this is the problem with the heavy tanks versus light tanks. It's like a bear trying to fight a swarm of bees. He's not going to be able to get the base capture done, to be honest, so he probably would be better off just reversing down that building and trying to face just one target at a time. Does now switch across to the RU, takes him out beautifully. Now he's just got the T-37 to get to, but there's only a second left on the clock. That is it. That is GG and the game. So absolutely amazing game played there by Red Hawk 95, picking himself up 7,000 points of damage, 3 kills. Now, I will just have to apologise slightly for this game. I don't normally like to show defeats, and draws, in my opinion, are the worst kind of defeats. But to be honest, I still felt that this replay was deserving of some credit. Red Hawk 95 drove absolutely brilliantly, showing off the abilities of the ST1 and showing that he pretty much did all he could to help his team out there, and just everybody else decided to capitulate and fight a different battle. So a very, very well played game there by Red Hawk 95, despite the draw. It is the worst kind of defeat, but still, he earned himself my respect. So awesome game from you. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Don't forget, guys, if you've got yourself a great replay, then send that to replay@screenreality.com. The link for that's in the description. I have been Maxwell. This has been a World of Tanks replay, and I will catch you guys next time.